Thomasville, North Carolina. Entertainment talk radio at its best with Kaye Dee and Motormouth on Crucial Conversations on 103.1 WEOM FM.
You're listening to Thomasville, North Carolina's best gospel station, WEOM 103.1 FM. Hi, everybody. This is Kaye Dee.
And this is Motormouth. How y'all doing today out there? And how you doing, Kaye Dee?
I'm wonderful. Can't complain.
Good. I know we're going to have a good, fun show today.
We're going to try.
So let's get it rolling. Yeah. What you want to start off first with? There's so much going on out there.
Yeah, but I want to focus on one thing, Motormouth, to be honest. Let's talk about stand your ground. Because every time I try to get into a different subject this week, for some reason, everything kept dragging me back to Florida. Everything drove me to Florida. Okay. Before we even get deep with it, I would love to take a moment to give an example of what I think, because you know I got an opinion, I always do, of what I think Stand Your Ground is about.
Right.
Now, I don't know if you heard about this, Motormouth, but this happened in Metro Atlanta. Before we moved to Florida, we're going to hang out in Georgia for a second, okay? There's a lady, I'm going to call her Miss James, because she is deserving of much respect, okay? She's 77 years old. She's a grandmother, owns a home, minding her business, has grandchildren, you know, kids hang out at the house, grandkids at the house. Anyway, this lady's 77 years old, and I'm going to give her my salute and hat of the week, because I'm going to read what happened. Miss James told Channel's 2 Amanda Cook that a man tossed a brick through the bedroom window of her Northwest Atlanta home Wednesday afternoon. Now, this lady's in the house minding her business. A man tossed a brick through this lady's bedroom window. Miss James said the man tried to crawl through her window. Okay, he got to cleaning the glass out of the window as much as he could, she said. James said she saw no reason to yell or to try to talk to the man, so she started shooting. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get that deep because we're going to take a quick moment and play the audio tape and let you guys decide whether Ms. James is a perfect representation of what Stand Your Ground should be about.
That sounds like a good thing to do.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll let you guys see the tape and we'll be back in a moment.
A grandmother defended herself. She shot at a burglar who tried to get into her house by coming through her bedroom window. New at 11, Channel 2's Amanda Cook spoke in detail with the 77-year-old woman. Amanda's live tonight at Atlanta Police Headquarters with what that woman had to say. Amanda.
So, Rita, this woman is 77 years old and she has bad eyesight, but she was not frazzled in the least about what happened. In fact, she was more annoyed than anything that this man broke her window.
Come on, Shug.
Rita James tells us she's a sweet but tough granny. And this 77-year-old doesn't mess around when it comes to protecting herself and her house. In fact, her pistol and 2 bullet casings were still on the table when we got here.
I was in here when I heard the noise, both times.
Wednesday afternoon, James heard someone throw a brick through her bedroom window. What did you think when you first saw him standing on the other side of the window?
Nothing but the shooting.
James said after the man threw the brick, she saw him still on the outside of her house.
He was standing back this way on that side.
She said the man was actually working to make sure he didn't cut himself when crawling in.
Just like he was at home, he was going to clean the window, and he just got to pulling the glass out the window to clear it as much as he could.
James said she didn't say anything because there was no need for words.
No, I didn't. I don't try to talk to nobody breaking in.
Instead, she put that pistol to work.
And I shot at him. And I shot twice. And he wasn't in no big hurry about leaving. But he left.
Atlanta police investigators came and searched for him, but no luck. They also spoke to James and told her she did the right thing. James didn't know if she hit the guy, but frankly, she said she didn't care.
Because he didn't have no business back there at my window.
And here's the kicker to this. This is not the first time that Rita James has shot at somebody breaking into her home. She says it's actually the 3rd time. Her son was getting there as we were leaving. He was more upset than she was. He's worried about his mom's safety. He told us that he is going to try and put up a security fence around her house. We are live in downtown Atlanta. Amanda Cook, Channel 2 Action News, Night Beat.
This is Kaye Dee. Hope you guys take a moment to listen to the tape about Rita James in Metro Atlanta, who is our I guess you could say our hero of the week, Motorman.
Yeah, Mama James.
Mama James, I like that name.
Gunslinger. Gun at her hip, at her side.
But you have to give it to Miss James.
Ready to provide.
You got to give it to her. I mean, what is she supposed to do? She's 77 years old. Some fool.
I could care less if she was 34. She did the right thing. If she was 14, she did the right thing.
Yeah.
If she was 104, she did the right thing. That was shoot at somebody coming into your house.
That's why you
standing your own ground.
That's why you heard me say some fool was coming through this lady's window. And this was the third time that he tried to break in.
I just wish she had her glasses where she could really put a cap in. Put a cap in there. Yeah. That's what she should have done.
Goodness.
Instead, she missed. But he didn't come back. But what got me, though, she said after she fired, he just stood there.
That's why I said so fool.
Yeah.
And I don't like to call people.
Shocked, you know.
I don't like to call people fool, but he had some issues.
Yeah, Mama James had some issues for her.
Yeah. But Miss James said that she's not sure she struck the man, but he was able to get away. And she also said she's more annoyed that the man broke her window. She pissed because he broke her doggone window. Okay, Atlanta police said James said she did the right thing by protecting herself, and the officers are still searching for the burglar.
Yep.
So that's the Metro Atlanta's good example of stand your ground and what happened this week. One of many, I'm sure, but that one stuck out.
Her son needed to take her to the driving range or the shooting range and make sure she got her glasses fixed for the next time.
Well, I think
she
Miss
could
James,
put a cap in there.
I think Miss James was doing all right to say she couldn't see that well.
Yeah.
She probably just needs some glasses. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But, also a couple, sometimes it's not bad to have a little training on how to handle a weapon, especially at her age and in the neighborhood that she live in.
You don't think Miss James hasn't had any training, not formal training?
Right, yeah. I mean, because, there was no blood scene, no blood or anything, so she missed,
That's just because she couldn't see that well.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, my goodness. But on a more serious note, salute to Miss James, Miss Rita James of Metro Atlanta, handling her business. And to me, that is a perfect example of what stand your ground should be about. What's your thought on it, Mona?
Well, I'm with you 100%, 1,000,000%. That is stand your ground. Somebody trying to come into your house.
Exactly, on your property.
Right, to cause bodily harm to you or whatever. And you defend yourself.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what she did,
I guess you could say a conflict of interest with what's going on. Let's go on down to Florida and break that down a little bit, because that also has a Metro Atlanta connection also. Now,
exactly. The young man was from Atlanta.
Exactly. I'm referencing Jordan Davis, who was the 17-year-old who got killed by Michael Dunn. This happened in Florida day after Thanksgiving. And as we sit right now, there are a lot of people that have gotten together and decided to go down to Jacksonville, Florida to protest. They want something, pretty much they want stand your ground to be repealed, or at least to be looked at again, and they want it to be considered. And it makes sense to me. It needs to be altered, repealed, reanalyzed, or something. Because in my opinion, just like Ms. Rita James is a perfect example, stand your ground means, like Motor Mouth said, you're in your territory, your turf. Your home.
Not community turf.
Your vehicle, your condo, your whatever, okay? And someone aggravates you. But from what I'm understanding, the problem that everyone is having, including myself, with the situation in Florida, this is the second situation in Florida. Even though there are similarities to what happened with the Trayvon Martin case, the two cases are parallel, but the main ingredient that I see that makes this different was, first of all, there was no debate about who started what. That was pretty clear. Am I correct, Mona Mouth?
Exactly.
Okay. This also happened in a very, very public place with witnesses at a gas station.
Exactly.
So we had witnesses on the scene when everything happened. There was a crowd of people around. There were correct me, Mona, was it 3 or 4 teenagers in the SUV? 4
altogether.
About
One
4?
went into the store, and I guess there was 3 left
3 in the vehicle.
Right.
Yeah, 3 in the vehicle. Okay. At a gas station, which is so bizarre to me. At a gas station, a public place gas station. And apparently he didn't like the fact that the music they were playing, I don't know whether he didn't like the music, whether it was just too loud, I mean, whatever. But what teenager does not play music just a little too loud? They all do. They all, Long story short, for those who have not heard about the case and what's going on, Michael Dunn's girlfriend, based on what we're told, went in the gas station, and they just left a wedding. I think it was a friend, relative's wedding.
I think it was the
son's wedding. This occurred in Jacksonville, Florida. His girlfriend goes to the gas station. Michael Dunn stays in the car. something happened with the SUV that was parked in the same parking lot. I think it was next to him. Words go back and forth, so we're told. Something happened, and he reaches in the glove compartment and pulls out a gun and starts shooting. They're saying that he shot approximately 8 or 9 rounds. Now, Michael Dunn is wanting us to believe right now that the reason why he decided to, use deadly force, because that's what he did, was because he felt threatened. Now, my question is, look at it, stand your ground, and the reason why I think it should definitely be redone, reappealed, eliminated, or something. Something needs to be done for clarification. I don't think that it's right. I don't care what state, city, time, or place that you're in the United States. I don't care what's going on around you. Stand your ground does not give you the right to be irritated or upset because somebody's doing something that you don't like. And again, I go back to, if he was that upset about the music being loud, there are several things he could have done. He could have went inside the store and complained. He could have cranked the car engine back up and backed out and moved to another parking spot. And if he was that upset, he could have called the police, filed a formal complaint. I mean, there are lots of things you can do before you pick out a gun and just randomly start shooting into a vehicle.
Well, I just look at it that since he pulled off and everything, left the scene.
He left the scene.
I think they kind of printed it wrong. Instead of saying stand your ground, it was leave your ground.
Well, yeah.
He left,
Yeah.
And so therefore, by him leaving, he automatically eliminated stand your ground to be on the board or on the table, because if he was going to stand his ground, he should have stayed there until the police got there and found, and everything there. There's no way in the world should he be able to call or claim stand your ground when he left his grounds. That's number one. So therefore, if he didn't have nothing to use that term in this situation, because he left, I mean, it could have been a little bit more tighter to say stand your ground if he had stayed,
and
for the scene of the accident or the scene of the shooting.
It wasn't even his ground. It was public property, a gas station.
Right,
okay?
Exactly. I know that, but I'm just saying, I'm just looking at it, he left. So when he left, that to me ruled out of any type of form of trying to say stand your ground. And then he didn't turn himself in. He didn't do anything. The police had to go and get him. He went on back to the hotel, took care of his business with his girlfriend or whatever, and then they drove on home the next day.
160 miles away.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's time enough, that the media, the police department stop trying to make general people look like fools, like they don't know what's going on, what time it is, and actually whatever, laws that they're using or whatsoever need to be, appealed, and justice just needs to come across. Good, clean, old justice, which never, in so many ways, I would say this country never really based itself upon, It's based on the Stand Your Ground law, and based on an article that I read in the Tampa Bay newspaper, the Tampa Bay Times. They were saying the Stand Your Ground law was intended to make communities safer by allowing people to fight back against criminals and anyone thought seeking to do them bodily harm. And I guess that's the problem with the interpretation. Anyone that you think is seeking to do bodily harm. So I think it definitely should be repealed, because apparently common sense is not coming into play in their interpretation. Well, I mean, even on that, like the same thing with the Trayvon Martin case. I love this. I mean, why aren't they testing these people, their blood levels and whatever, to
for
see
drugs or alcohol?
Alcohol, see what kind of mental state of mind they were in when they committed these crimes against others. And then the thing that's getting me the most is the youth that's being the victims, of full-fledged adults that should have common sense, so that's a good thing, to see exactly what's going to come out of it, and everything. And then to have attorneys to step up to the plate, and they need to be held accountable for what they're going to represent their clients on. If it's not ethical, legal, or kosher, they should not just jump on stand your ground
automatically.
Right, when that's not the issue or the situation. from the best that we know. And then there never was no weapons of destruction, if you want to say, that these kids were supposed to have in this vehicle when the police got there. There wasn't nothing there. So as far as I'm concerned, the man just lying.
Yeah.
And they need to throw the books at him, and I really think that they should seek the death penalty if they got it in Florida to make a statement.
But you know what's interesting to me? He still is claiming that he felt threatened, and his attorney is claiming that he's, you know, so nice, law-abiding software. What is he? A software engineer, software something? But whatever, it doesn't matter to me. It's like she's trying to imply that he's such a straight-laced, you know, pillar within the community. He would never do such a thing.
The bottom line is a man probably was intoxicated under drugs or something, and just committed a crime from intoxication that he should not have done if he all this, and he was in good sense of mind, as this attorney is trying to represent him being. Something don't fall
Something's not
in line,
adding up.
right, and adding up in this man's demeanor, you know, that she's trying to present of him.
Because like you said, Motormouth, the reality is, you know, to back up a little bit, if he felt that threatened, you know, threatening enough to pull out a gun and round off 8 or 9 shots in a vehicle adjacent to you.
And nobody got out of the vehicle to do anything to you?
And what's interesting, Jordan Davis was in the back seat of the vehicle, from what I'm understanding, from what I'm recalling. He was in the back seat of the SUV.
Exactly.
So, you know, something's not right in Florida. There's a lot that's not right in Florida.
Well, there's a lot not right. The man left the scene. That's number one.
Of course he did.
He left the scene. He didn't call the authority to say, hey, I had a confrontation or anything. He didn't even, you know, like there was nothing ever committed, you know, so... And
you know what else, Motormouth, that's interesting to me? I would be hard-pressed to believe that no one between...
Dunn?
Yeah, Dunn. I don't know why I have a memory block with Michael Dunn. But I would be very hard-pressed to believe that either Michael Dunn or his girlfriend did not have a phone. I'm sure they had between the two, and they had a phone. And again, if you felt that threatened...
Go back in the convenience store and use the phone.
Why would you not call? Exactly.
You know, I just
call for help. And on top of it, Motormouth, like you talk about, you know, the importance of trying to test to see what was in his bloodstream at the time. Impossible to do when he backed out, fled the scene of the crime. The only reason they even were able to find him so fast was the witnesses at the gas station wrote down his license plate number.
Yeah, exactly.
And they had to go to his place and, you know, pretty much pick him up the next day.
Yeah. Well, you know, I look at it like this. You know, a lot of things in Florida that involve
Sunshine State.
People of color as being victim, they just don't get the right due process.
Live in full effect. This is Black Leaf online. And whenever I listen to the radio, I listen to WEOM 103.1 FM with Kaye Dee and Motormouth. Peace.
You know, I mean, I figured that all the way back up from Rosewood, you know, how these people could come in and terrorize a community and never be held accountable for. And it's the same situation with the Stand Your Ground. They coming in doing things, I'm being racist, you know, right here, but it seemed like if a black person can just fire a shot in the air for a warning shot, and they get 20 years. Now, why aren't these people being held accountable for their action when they're committing murder?
And you know what, Motormouth? I'm looking at what his attorney is trying to make us believe. Like you said, you know, I'm not bringing race into it, but folks are not crazy. I mean, this is crazy to me. Okay, she's saying that her client, Michael Dunn, is no vigilante, but he did feel threatened and shot out of, quote, self-defense, okay? So he, in quote again, he is devastated and horrified by the death of the teen. Well, I'm sure the teen's family, friends, and loved ones are horrified by the death of the teen also. I mean, I understand she's doing her job and trying to, you know, pretty much put a defense up for this guy, but this is crazy to me. As far as I'm concerned, this has nothing to do with Stand Your Ground. This is what I call murder. Straight up murder. I don't see it any other way. You know? The
man snapped.
And then, you know, 17-year-old Jordan Davis was among the teens. He was the only one among the teens in the vehicle that was killed. And also, let's keep in mind that as far as the authorities are saying, they're saying that there were no guns that were found inside the teen's car. So if the sheriff department is saying that there were no guns found inside the car, why is Dunn wanting us to believe that, how did he put it, Motormouth?
They had a rifle.
He said they had rifles in the car. It's almost like he was trying to make us believe based on...
The man was high
what I
and
call
he was hallucinating.
Stereotyped,
I just say he was high. There's a better word I could use.
But see, we can't prove that because he disappeared for overnight.
They should have all that information, in his blood if they took a blood test. Because if you can go for a job and they can have it and trace you for the last 30, 40, 60, 80, 90 days,
that's the thought.
They could trace whatever was in this man's blood system for 60, 70, 80 days. Take a hair, take a piss test, take whatever they need to take the blood sample and all this other stuff. And it's just a bunch of crap, Yeah,
because the Jacksonville police are saying that they found no gun inside the vehicle.
Right.
No gun. Okay. Now, this guy's attorney, she wants us to believe, based on what I'm recalling seeing her, in the news, what she was saying. She wants us to believe that the children, as she put it, one of the guys could have easily just gotten out and thrown the gun out the vehicle. Now, I'm thinking about, this happened in a public place at a gas station, okay? All chaos breaks out. There's shots that have been rung out, 8 or 9 shots, okay? Even if they hopped out of the vehicle, which I don't know what happened, we're just speculating.
But it's going back to that stereotype that they try to paint of all black youth as being problematic. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, but I'm just saying, how likely is it? I don't care if you got somebody with a baseball player's arm up in there. All these people in this parking lot at this gas station, you don't think somebody would have seen somebody throwing something? And on top of it, when the police showed up, best believe, I'm sure they went all around the property, all around the ground. If they didn't, something's wrong. The reality is, I don't think they had a gun. I don't think they had weapons. I'm not buying it.
For them to throw out because
I'm not buying it.
The vehicle didn't move nowhere.
Thank you. It sat right there. It's not like they pulled out the parking lot. The only thing that pulled out of the parking lot was the guy that did the shooting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where he left his ground.
That's the problem.
Yeah, he didn't stand no ground.
Yeah.
But we need to take a break right quick and be right back.
You're listening to the best gospel station in Thomasville, North Carolina, 103.1 FM, WEOM.
Thomasville, North Carolina, entertainment talk radio at its best with Kaye Dee and Motormouth on 103.1 WEOM FM.
Welcome back, guys. We're talking about the situation that happened down in Jacksonville, Florida, of Jordan Davis and Michael Dunn, which is kind of in parallel to the Stand Your Ground.
Well, it's definitely based on Stand Your Ground from the way he's taking it.
Yeah, that's the way that I'm looking at it also. But even though his attorney has already said that they're going to use the Stand Your Ground as a defense, on the other hand, she's kind of contradicting herself, in my opinion, because she is saying exactly that her client's actions should not be compared to George Zimmerman, who was the volunteer neighborhood watchman who was charged with second-degree murder in the February 26th shooting death of Martin in Sanford, Florida. Now, her words exactly, Motormouth, for this. That's ridiculous. Michael is a vigilante, the attorney said. He's a brilliant software developer. It was never his intention to kill anyone. Now, the attorney said she's contemplating what defense she would use if the case should go to trial. If the case should go to trial, anyway. She's saying self-defense applies because Mr. Dunn was threatened. We can't say what the defense will be at this stage, but stand your ground is a possibility. Now, what she's wanting us to believe...
But he was threatened by what?
I'm just saying what she's saying.
With all the witnesses and everybody there, nobody said he was threatened at all.
I'm probably trying to make sense out of something that doesn't make sense because I'm not buying it. I'm trying to be open-minded about where this lady's coming from, but, I'm not feeling this. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Okay, what she's done is she's going ahead and given another account of what happened that night based on what her client is telling her. Okay. She's saying that according to Dunn's attorney, Michael Dunn wants us to believe that he saw a shotgun in the SUV while the teens yelled threatening obscenities. Now, I can't even read off all these obscenities I could, but I probably shouldn't. Things like kill that mother, that mother dead and all this other kind of stuff. I don't know. This is what he said happened. Then he sees that much of the shotgun coming up over the rim of the SUV. Well, let me slow down and make sure I'm getting this in my mind. And then he sees that much of the shotgun coming up over the rim of the SUV, which is higher up than his Jetta. This is what she told the reporters. And it's all he sees, and they are heavily tinted windows, which are up, and the back windows, which are down. And the car has at least 4 black men in it. And he doesn't know how old anybody is, and he doesn't know anything, but he knows a shotgun when he sees one, end of quote. Now, she's saying that her client was scared after the exchange. I'm just saying. And I'm sorry I'm reading it all weird, but it's coming across. I'm trying to read it word for word. Okay, she says that her client was scared after the exchange he had with Dunn. He believes that the teenager would call friends and have him killed. After the shooting, she claims that Dunn fled, thinking his 8 shots had only scared the teens. Okay.
Now, how in the world are you going to scare somebody when you know you didn't shoot up in the air and you shot at them? As I said, the man was high or something, drunk, high or something.
I don't know.
And, I mean, because first
this
of all...
This is so based on stereotypes until I don't even know where to begin.
I mean, but what I can't even begin to start comprehending on it is the idea the man left the scene of a crime.
Exactly.
That's the number one thing. So why did he flee the scene of a crime?
And you know what, Motormouth? That's the biggest thing that's bugging me because based on his account, his attorney's version of what she said he told her about what happened, it almost seems like a movie. Think about you pull up to the gas station, you get some gas. There's an SUV way up in the air with dark tinted windows and 4 black men in it. Oh my God. Loud music. He don't know how old he is. What difference does it make how old somebody is? I'm with you, Motormouth. It would be nice if they couldn't have gotten a report to see whether this man was on something, intoxicated from the wedding. I don't know. Or whether he just straight up lying. Could be all of the above, because I'm not buying it.
First of all, the kids was busy jamming to their music, not even thinking about this man.
And what group of teenagers in a car coming back from the mall? They're coming back from the mall. Yeah, that's kind of the norm.
Yeah.
It's kind of the norm, to be honest. But it still don't give you the right to pull your gun out and shoot at him. And then too, like his attorney wants us to believe that he didn't have intentions of hurting anybody. Hello, when you put a gun in your hand and you shoot, isn't your intention to hurt somebody?
Thank you.
And you're in a public parking space. Think about it.
He ain't shooting up in the air?
Oh, yeah. He's parked next to these folks and he's going to start shooting and he don't think that anybody was going to get hurt? I'm sorry. I'm not buying it, Motormouth. I'm not buying any of this. Every time I read it, it just sounds like somebody's making up to me. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it.
All of it sounds fabricated.
If he was that upset and that afraid that the teens or whoever was in the SUV, because he didn't know the ages of anybody, it was just 4, but he saw it was 4 black men in there. He saw that. Okay, if he was that afraid that they were going to call their friends, he sure is concluding a lot, to come and kill him.
Well,
then why is it when he got back to wherever he went and spent the night at his hotel, why didn't he immediately call 911? If you were that afraid, wouldn't you have called? Look, I'd have been driving down the road with the phone. Excuse me. Hey, 911.
Yeah.
If I'm that afraid, and if you didn't think that you killed any of them, my God, they could be following you, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm going by what he threw out there. Would I have gone back home and spent the night? Heck no. Would you, Motormouth? I'm not buying this. Not buying it.
Hotel, anything.
Oh, no.
I went to the authority to let them know what happened.
Thank you.
First of all, I would not have left the scene of the accident.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, you put that around the, change that scenario. And let a black person leave the scene of an accident. You know what
They probably would have showed up at his doorstep when they had to hunt him down and shots would have been fired. I'm promising you. That's just my opinion of what I think would have occurred. He probably would have even never made it to the jailhouse. I don't like to bring race into stuff, but no, I'm not buying it. I don't think he would have made it to the jailhouse. I just don't.
Right. Then he wouldn't have made it back to the hotel.
Probably not. Probably not. FBI would have been called. I mean, really. Everybody from other state lines would have been crossed to come in and bring him in. I honestly believe that. So, I don't know what's up with the defense, but I'm sorry, guys. I'm not buying it.
Well, I can understand why the parents definitely would go after this.
Oh, yeah.
Because the child
they don't need to drop
not at fault or doing anything. I have not heard anything negative yet about any of those children that was in that car. And it's just funny, another situation. So I guess, if people can't see the comparison to the Trayvon Martin case, I mean, it's just, again, the way the authorities is handling things.
Right.
allowing certain information into the media. Other charges that should be filed and everything against Dunn have not been filed, at least, presented to us that they've been, filed. So it's just interesting, and I'm not really trying to make it be a racial thing or anything,
Neither
but
am
it's just the ideal that due process is not being perform, within in the state of Florida.
Right.
I mean, Florida got so many crazy stuff going on. I mean, from the voting to different things just happening, It's just crazy.
Well, I'm with Ron Davis, who is Jordan Davis's father. This is crazy to me. He says that he's going to spend his time trying to get Stand Your Ground repealed. And, I'm with him 100%. He said the first goal is to get Stand Your Ground repealed because that law empowers people to carry firearms and to use them if somebody looks at them sideways. And I agree. That's the problem.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that I would hope the law is not meant to be designed to be used that way, Motormouth, because it is. We might as well go on back to the Wild Wild West. We don't need the police department.
No,
we really don't.
Be, take
vigilante style. We don't need the police department. We can just shoot people and have the law to reinforce that it was okay because somebody irritated you or upset you.
Or looked at you hard.
Looked at you, didn't like how you looked at you, stepped on your toe. I mean, I'm being real. What if somebody pull up next to me and they playing country music and I don't like country music? And then two, who am I to tell someone else whether the music is loud or not loud enough? I mean, what am I, the voice police or something? It's crazy to me. The whole thing is so crazy. I'm really trying my best to look at the big picture, but I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. I think it needs to be repealed, bottom line. Mm-hmm. And I already have a bad feeling they're going to try to take Jordan's reputation, just like they're doing with Trayvon Martin situation. I would hope not, but that's about the norm for how things go when it comes to the Stand Your Ground and everything. They always try to take somebody's reputation and break it down. And my thing is this, I'm with you, Motormouth. I haven't read anything negative about Jordan Davis at all. Okay, but you know what? Even if he was the biggest crook and criminal on the planet, it wouldn't matter to me. You still don't have the right to just shoot somebody because you pull up next to them at a gas station and you feel like the music is too loud. I'm not buying it, y'all. That's all I can say. But anyway, what's going on in Jacksonville? Jordan Davis's mother's already come out and, voiced her opinion also. And, there's an Atlanta connection there because she actually is in Marietta, Georgia. Marietta is in Cobb County in metro Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And, she's saying that she doesn't want people to try to make it into a hate crime. The lady's in pain. I mean, who wouldn't be? Yeah. And they actually flew, last weekend. Well, was it last Saturday, Mona? I think it was
they
last
had a funeral.
The funeral was in metro Atlanta last Saturday. And they gave, because Jordan's father, Ron Davis, is a retiree of Delta Airlines. Metro Atlanta is a large Delta Airlines hub. They're trying to get people to not try to make it a racial issue or hate crime issue, but on the other hand, they don't want it to be dropped. They want justice, and I can't blame them. Their child is dead over some nonsense, But she's come out and she's done a video, and she's, asked for things to be done in a legal and peaceful way, because, we don't want to get everybody roughed up like with the Trayvon Martin situation. But if things get real stupid, folks might have to get up and start marching again. They need to repeal Stand Your Ground. Something's not right.
Yeah, they need to do something, But it's kind of hard to say. I mean, I can understand her point of view. Yeah. But then again, she don't really know Dunn. Mm-hmm. As far as we know, he could be one of the biggest racists that's out there. You don't know his background. They haven't revealed. Did that other than talking about some software?
All I know is he's a software developer.
Right. You don't know what affiliations that he have.
Motormouth, we do know one other thing also. They stressed the point, too, in something in the Tampa newspaper, the Jacksonville newspaper, that he was an avid gun collector. Right. We do know that. And he's a software developer. Right. And then beyond that, I don't know anything about this man.
Why he collect guns? Does he belong to some malicious group? Who knows? I mean, you don't know anything about the man just yet, other than what his lawyer is trying to paint a positive image of him. Right. Or what's coming down. To me, there's no positive image to project when you are only good as your last performance. And his last performance was leaving a scene of a crime that he committed. Yeah. You know, so he fled. And so I don't see how they could say anything else than that, that he fled a crime that he committed, you know, and they didn't arrest him on for fleeing a crime. Right. So, you know, it's just funny, you know, to me, you know.
Well, you know, they have the SCLC involved now, okay? The SCLC has kind of gotten together with Ron Davis, George Davis's father, and in the fight, and they're going to, again, the whole goal is to try to change Florida's laws. You know, they're citing it, and they're using this to base a study. They're citing a study that found that justifiable homicides have increased 5-fold since the Florida Stand Your Ground law was passed by the Florida legislature 5 years ago. Homicides are up. That's not right. And they also have a music entice campaign. I don't know the extreme details of it, but they're rolling on it pretty strong. There's a music campaign where they're trying to get people to spread the news and spread the word across the nation in support of trying to get the Florida Stand Your Ground laws appealed. But we're going to see what's going on. I still say this is not right. There's something else I wanted to bring up about Stand Your Ground, because the Florida legislature did get together, and they actually formed a campaign.
Formed a campaign on what?
Well, the campaign was to actually go back and look into Stand Your Ground to see if it needed to be repealed. They said it's fine just like it is, okay?
Well, you expect that because it serves a certain group interest that
is working
private lobby, you know, for it to pass.
It's working for them. But, you know, with the same thing with Florida and Jacksonville, a lot of people are a little ruffled because when the campaign got together and said that the law was fine as it is, people are trying to get another lady again who got in a situation where she used Stand Your Ground. It was a little kind of similar, but not really. Now, what was unfair based on people's opinion in Florida? This lady's name was Marissa Alexander. Now, she got 20 years for firing a warning shot, okay? The question is, did she stand her ground? I mean, she didn't kill anybody, but she fired a warning shot in the air and instantly got 20 years. 20 years. So I don't know what is going on. Now, this is a domestic violence situation. It was a little different, okay? But again, it set up another controversy because it involves the Stand Your Ground law, which is under intense scrutiny after the shooting death of Trayvon Martin in February, you know. So all of this happened, including the Congresswoman Corrine Brown. She's a Democrat of Florida. She's the one that's also crying foul play, like the law needs to be looked at. You know what I mean? So I don't know what's going on, but the question is coming up with the Marissa Alexander situation. Is they're going, how? They ask, could a 31-year-old woman in a relationship with a man who has a history of domestic violence and whose actions did not result in any physical injury be sentenced to 2 decades in prison, while George Zimmerman, the man who shot and killed Trayvon Martin, is out on bail? It's a good question, Motor.
Yeah, and they both domestic case.
Yeah. This lady saying, you know, it was her and her husband. They weren't living together. They had a domestic violence situation going on. Long story short, he has a history based on what I'm scanning over of doing things he shouldn't have been doing. And I guess the lady got fed up with it. So, you know, he came in her house and told her that if I can't have you, nobody's going to have you. So she went. So he pushed her. She pushed past the guy, apparently, and went in the garage where she got a gun from her car's glove compartment. He would go with the car in the glove compartment again. That sounds familiar, Motor.
Yep.
Anyway, long story short, during the prosecution, he said that Marissa Alexander came back into the house holding the weapon, and she told him to leave. He refused, and what happened next is somewhat unclear. In his deposition, he said that she said that she shot in the air 1 time. This prompted him and the children to run out the front door. But when she called 911 the day of the incident, she said that she aimed the gun at us and she shot. So there again, you have 2 people with 2 different versions of what actually happened. All that we can agree upon is that the fact the gun was fired, but it was fired into the air.
Now, was she outside or inside the house?
I think she was outside. I'm not positive on it because they didn't really break down, you know, I didn't pull up the actual case itself. I'm just scanning over a few things.
Well, even if she was outside and she aimed at him and he was taking a, you know, stance that they should have been able to find a bullet in a tree house or something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but according to this judge, she says there's insufficient evidence that the defendant reasonably believed that deadly force was needed to prevent death or great bodily harm to herself. And that the fact that she came back into the home instead of leaving out the front door or the back door is inconsistent with a person who is in genuine fear for her life. Now, do you know what I'm thinking when I'm reading this Motor Mouth? Can't we take this same situation and put it toward George Zimmerman?
In so many ways.
Because in order for him to really believe that deadly force was needed to prevent death or great bodily harm, okay, this judge is saying that the fact that this lady came back into the house instead of leaving, George Zimmerman could have stayed in his car and just left versus getting out of the vehicle with a gun. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And even confronting Trayvon Martin.
Exactly.
So I don't understand Florida and how they're trying to interpret this law, and maybe therein lies the problem. Maybe they need to take a moment and go back and break down ifs, ands, and buts about the stand your ground law, because it's like conflicting to me, you know?
Mm-hmm, exactly. Now, what I'm trying to understand, did this lady come back into her home or her ex-husband home or what?
I think it was her home. Well,
he should have left when she'd asked him to leave.
Well, you know, there's a domestic violence situation going on in this case. When people going through stuff like that, folks are crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but, I mean, it wasn't for the idea for her to leave. She didn't have nowhere to leave, too. She was in her home.
I'm with you, but that judge is looking at it. But, and I know that her children were in the house based on what I read. Now,
so I'm just saying, so therefore, if she came back into the house and fired a warning shot, the warning shot should either be in the ceiling or it should be in the wall.
I'm agreeing with you.
You know, so they could even went farther than that. That's the reason why I asked when she's outside, because I'm not familiar with the case, but if she was outside or inside the house.
Yeah.
You know.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so she came out, went to her car, came back into her house and fired some warning shots. There should be a hole somewhere where the bullet hit.
Could be.
Yeah,
could be.
Ain't no could be. There should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's even more interesting?
Unless they had an open window and it just flew out the window.
Well, I don't know. So much is flying around. I don't even know what to think about anything anymore. But what's even more interesting, this same lady, Marissa Alexander, who got the 20 years, her case was prosecuted by Angela Corey. Does that name sound familiar, Mona?
Not to me, really.
Okay, Angela Corey is the Florida state attorney who was also prosecuting George Zimmerman.
Okay.
Anyway, Marissa Alexander was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and because she discharged a firearm during the incident, the case fell under Florida's 10-20 life law, enacted in 1999, which mandates a 20-year sentence for use of a gun during the commission of a certain crime. Wow. So, long story short, Marissa Alexander's family is trying to get media attention, and they're trying to look for a new attorney. But based on what the defense attorney was pointing out, you know, she said that there are several problems with this lady's case. She said, first of all, Marissa Alexander violated her bail by returning to the home. See, I don't know the history of these folks. By returning to the home where the shooting incident took place several months later. Second of all, she's saying that Miss Alexander could have fled the home through the back door instead of returning to the house and confronting Gray. But see, that bothers me because in both cases in Florida, in the Michael Dunn situation and in the George Zimmerman situation, in my mind, Motormouth, they could have both left. You know, that's why I say if that's the conflict, I think. If this same judge is telling this lady that she could have left, then why is it we couldn't look at George Zimmerman's situation and say the same thing? He could have not left. He could have just left the guy alone. He didn't even have to get out the car.
Yeah, but you don't know the ruling that the judge is going to have yet since they have not gone to court.
That's true. I'm just saying it's just interesting to me.
You don't know. You know.
Even with Michael Dunn, if the music's too loud, look, you're only going to be at the gas station, what, how long? 5 minutes, if that long?
Yep.
Your girlfriend's going to be out in a minute. I mean, how irritated could you be? You could have backed your butt at the parking lot and went on about your business and called it a day. Go home, take an Advil, and sit down somewhere if you got a headache. Yeah. I mean, that's just my opinion. But, you know, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, you're right, Motormouth. I don't know the extreme details of this case. But it's interesting because people are trying to get it up in the headline news again because of the stand your ground defense. And I think the problem in a nutshell is, you know, the Florida state attorney, again, Miss Corey, her quote is, "You can't shoot a gun at people," end the quote. Now, this is the state attorney general saying that, you know, you can't shoot a gun at people.
Exactly.
So it's going to be really... Okay, Motormouth, here's the answer to your question. It was inside the house because it says that the gun ricocheted from the wall to the ceiling, but what if it had hit someone? Mm-hmm. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Michael Dunn's situation because, again, you shot off 8 or 9 times, okay? Yeah. He could have taken out a slew of people in the parking lot if you think about it. Mm-hmm. Folks at a gas station?
Yep, because he even blew up the gas station.
Oh, yeah.
Bullet ricocheted and hit the pump.
He could have shot people inside somebody could have been parked on the other side. I mean, the whole thing is just crazy to me. Yeah, mm-hmm. It's extreme. It's extreme. But anyway, based on everything that I've thrown out there about the Stand Your Ground law, on December the 7th of this year, there are no major changes for the Stand Your Ground law. And a nice, neat summary.
Well, before you get into that summary, let's go ahead and take a break.
Take a break? Okay.
You're listening to Thomasville, North Carolina's best gospel station, WEOM 103.1 FM.
Entertainment talk radio at its best with Kaye Dee and Motormouth on 103.1 WEOM FM, Thomasville, North Carolina.
Live and in full effect, this is Black Leaf online. And whenever I listen to the radio, I listen to WEOM 103.1 FM with Kaye Dee and Motormouth.
Like I was saying, Motormouth, as of December the 7th, at 4:24 in the afternoon, these people got together and said, guess what? What do you think they said, Motormouth? So, we don't need to change.
They're satisfied.
Yeah, it's working for them.
But, like Jeb Bush, made some reference to the law. And it's funny how they're not bringing his comments up pretty much and everything because the way he kind of expressed it, I guess, Zimmerman and made a comment on Zimmerman. Mm-hmm. And he said by him getting out of his vehicle, that don't fall underneath Stand Your Ground.
It doesn't to me either, and that's the problem that I'm having with all of it.
And I feel like he probably would claim the same thing being in the public place with Dunn shooting because, there's just so much. If Dunn saying he was still in his car and he was the driver.
He could have craned the car and backed down.
And what side was the SUV on here? I guess it must have been on his right side. Or his left side, But anyway it go, if he didn't get out of his car and look up into that car, he don't know what was going on. And so therefore, automatically, if he's going to open up his gun and fire it, he know he was firing directly into that vehicle.
Of course he did.
Right.
Think about it.
Wasn't trying to be no warning shots, no nothing or anything.
A vehicle's right next to you on the right or the left, and you aim at it. Yeah. You firing right into the vehicle. And if you know there's 3 or 4 guys in it, there's a 99% chance that somebody is gonna get killed and shot.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why he's saying he didn't think he hurt anybody.
And for someone to be so experienced at gun.
Thank you.
He know good and well what damage a gun would do.
Exactly.
And he know about the level. If he wasn't shooting up in the air, he knew he was asking for trouble shooting in the car, and he was shooting to kill somebody because he was mad.
I agree.
Hatred, whatever. He was not his normal self. So they go back again. I say. What was he high on or intoxicated on?
See, I don't know, Motormouth. I don't know.
Something that took this man out of what this lawyer said, he's such a good citizen, out of the norm.
And my thing is this, Motormouth. I'm the type of person that, look, just because you do a certain thing for a living, there are lots of people that do things. Look, it's nice to be a software developer, but that don't mean that you can't be an idiot. Sorry. I know nice, professional, laid back, easygoing folks, but I have a problem with people equating with what people do for a living with
as their character.
Because it's almost like you're implying that because you do something for a living that there's no way that you can do something wrong. Well, I'm not buying that. Exactly. And there's no way that you could ever do anything illegal, and I'm not buying that. Because the reality is we don't know what this man is for the norm,
Exactly.
All I have to go by is how he handled himself at that gas station in Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, and guess what? Sometimes nice people do stupid things, and vice versa.
They do all that
every day.
Yeah,
it's lots of nice, decent, upstanding, fine citizens in jail.
You can just look at the politics, exactly. The political situation.
Exactly.
Here, all these people then voted for these people, thinking that they good law-abiding citizen, to come find out they done got embezzled this, they embezzled that, they embezzled the people that put them into the office and everything. So corruption can be anywhere.
Thank you. And I guess that's the whole point I'm
we
trying to
have
make.
presidents they tried to impeach, or some been impeached.
I just have a problem with people that try to equate the level of someone's character with the level of what they do for a profession, because the two don't always add up. Sorry.
Exactly.
Not buying that. I know she's trying to defend her client, but not buying that either. But anyway, it's this force they put together is called the Citizen Safety and Protection Task Force. And they're not recommending any changes. They even looked at recommendation of minor changes. They say, nope. So as far as they're concerned, they said, quote, the law is mostly fine. They're cool with it. But when all these folks get to complaining and marching, as they should, they may have to look into that again and change it. But let's switch gears for a moment, Motormouth, along the same line, but kind of different. Let's see what's going on with George Zimmerman this week. What do you think?
Trying to sue NBC.
Yes, he is. He's trying to sue NBC.
Well, I guess his attorney said they're going to go ahead and jump up on it because they need some money, because he's been out there trying to raise and campaign some money. So they said they're going to go for NBC, and NBC said, bring it on. We see you in court.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Because, I guess, it takes money to defend yourself. It really does. But George Zimmerman, like you said, he's trying to raise money, apparently because he was doing something last week or the last couple of months, or the last month or so, where he was trying to pretty much sell his autograph. Yeah. It's a nice way of putting it. For money for his defense. So you're right, Motormouth. He said George Zimmerman is suing NBC over its editing of the 911 tape, claiming that the network made him sound like a, quote, racist and predatory villain, end of quote. Okay.
Well, I guess if that's the case, he needs to be suing a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because once you look at it and look at how many people try to interpret the tape, a lot of guys, from coon to all kinds of terms on that.
Yeah, and that's what he's suing about.
Yeah.
He's pretty much saying,
And they still say they don't know what he's saying, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what he's angry about. He's saying that NBC News saw the death of Trayvon Martin not as a tragedy, but as an opportunity to increase ratings, and so set about to create the myth that George Zimmerman was a racist and a predatory villain. He's suing for defamation, that's his character, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, and seeks unspecified damages as well as a trial by jury. Okay, so he's going to have another trial going on out of this. Yeah. What do you think, Motormouth? I don't know.
It's just like this here, if you're going to try to say about character and all
Character.
Well, I'm just looking at the idea of what him and his wife did. With the money that they had got, the little secret code, speaking in jail and outside jail on the phone about how much money they was raising and all this other stuff that was going on. I mean, he already got defamation of character on his own part that he committed on himself.
Pretty much.
So, and then, his character not following, the rules and regulation that the 911 dispatcher gave him, telling him they can handle it, go on about your business, but continue to follow Martin. I mean, there's just so many things, his character is already out of proportion to deal with. So a little bit that NBC, CNN, or anybody, ABC, anybody did, I think was, justifiable. At the same token,
apparently he did.
At the same time, at the token, as far as we don't know if that was done in his favor or not. You don't know how things go on in the media,
And from what I recall, the person that actually tampered the tape itself, the 911 tape, was the president of NBC.
Well, I know that I read about 4 other people and everything.
3 others also got fired. But, the president, when it first came out, they were saying the president, they even had the guy's name and everything. And I think he was probably the first one to get fired. But doesn't change, technically he has a right to sue whoever he wants to sue. He sure can. Yeah. He can sue him. I don't know about that defamation of character, how that's going to stand up, but he has the right to File a case.
And then he also got to think about if they decide to say, okay, you're trying to tarnish us, we're going to, what you call that? They're going to follow their own lawsuit.
They're going to flip the script on it?
Yeah, flip the script and everything, and then see how Zimmerman going to be, in the need for money.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to be interesting. His trial's going to be coming up pretty soon. What, June?
Yeah,
June-ish?
And then they got something come up in April that they do before that.
But we're going to see what's going to happen because, stand your ground as far as I'm concerned does need to be looked at. And I think the problem is, Motormouth, the law itself doesn't specify, in my opinion, with enough details about what constitutes a person feeling threatened. Because that word threatened can be loosely used when applied in different situations. They need to repeal that law as far as I'm concerned because this is getting stupid.
The law might not even need to be repealed. The law might be fine. It might be just
the interpretation of
the individuals who carrying out the law.
Mm-hmm. The interpretation.
The people that's enforcing it, they might need to be replaced.
Could be.
Yeah.
But most laws are written somewhat loosely to leave room and padding for different situations and interpretation. But like you said, it is the people that are making decisions based on the law. I'm not buying their version of what stand your ground means.
Or what they decide, what they want to make it mean.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. But anyway, long story short, Motormouth, we're going to follow up with everybody. We're going to try to wrap it up to the family of Ron Davis and Lucia McBath with Jordan Davis and the situation. My heart goes out to them. That's a deep situation to have to deal with George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin, with all of the stand your ground folks that's involved in it. Maybe they'll come to some kind of conclusion by the end of next year, especially when the Zimmerman case comes up and up for trial. We'll see what's going to happen, Motormouth. What more can we do?
That's it.
Other than if there's a call for action for people to get together, because, the SCLC is down in Florida now. And all they're trying to do is to try to keep the attention in the media to Jordan Davis and the injustice of what happened. And they're trying to get people to try to get support. And I think at change.org, they've actually already started a petition about, actually repealing the stand your ground law. Mm-hmm. It's just about keeping it in the media's attention and making you aware. And the reality is because what's going on in Jacksonville, Florida could happen in your neck of the woods because stand your ground laws are in I think they're in all the states now, aren't they, Motormouth?
They might be.
All 50 are pretty darn close.
Mm-hmm. But I just find it still, it's the people who they allow to rule or put in the position for the decision making on what is legal and illegal with these laws and how they interpret them. I just think they might even need to look into the background a little deeper of the people who's setting the president of the laws, the presence of the laws.
That's true. But it still can't hurt to readjust the law itself, and that way it shouldn't matter who's going to have to interpret if things are a little bit more concrete. Just my opinion.
Yeah, but even if it was more
versus
concrete,
being so broad.
Yeah, it might not even be that broad as they making it be. It just might just be the people.
True. True.
Of them, because again, when you see one set of rules being applied to one person, and then you see the set of rules being applied different for another person, and the situation, one, there's no death, the other is a death. It's going back to that person who's sitting on that seat, or that, as they say, on that bench, they're making that final decision. And how they allow, it's just like you said, it needs to be looked at.
I think so. It couldn't hurt to be looked at again.
Yeah, all around
from every angle. That's what I'm saying. From every angle, it needs to be revisited. I think. Yeah. Yep. But anyway, Motormouth, I guess we're gonna wrap it up for the week. Is it that time?
Yes, it is. It's about that time. Everybody get out there, do that Christmas shopping to make the economy improve a little bit. Help those people. And help me, and I'll talk to y'all next week.
Peace
and
grace.
What you gonna say, Kaye Dee?
I'm gonna say peace and grace.
Peace and grace to you.
You're tuned to Thomasville, North Carolina's Best Gospel, WEOM 103.1 FM.
Motor Mouth,
and Kaye Dee.
You're listening to Thomasville, North Carolina's best gospel, WEOM 103.1 FM. 103.1 FM.